For decades, we were taught that changing our lives required physical effort, incessant study, or divine luck. I had to break this myth in practice, firsthand, with science. The truth? There is a specific moment of the day, ignored by almost everyone, where a simple prayer, if said with feeling, can rewrite your entire destiny. And no, this is not empty mysticism. It is biology, it is vibration, it is a quantum field in action. Most people go to bed carrying the problems of the day, without knowing that they are wasting the most powerful window for mental and cellular reprogramming. While you sleep, your subconscious mind absorbs everything that is delivered with emotion. That is where the secret lies, and also the mistake of many. But when you understand this, when you learn to use this prayer correctly, everything starts to change. And fast. Because it's not about asking, it's about declaring. It's not about religion, it's about science. And the rewards of this appear where you least expect them. In your body, in your relationships, in opportunities that appear out of nowhere. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to show you, based on the very structure of the human mind, how this simple nightly practice transforms absolutely everything, without you having to leave your seat. Every night before I fall asleep, I notice the exact moment my mind shifts. My body relaxes, my thoughts slow down, and a kind of mental fog takes over. It is at this point, between wakefulness and sleep, that the alpha state sets in, a powerful brain band that I have learned to deeply value. For years I ignored this space. Today, I know that it is the true gateway to reprogramming. In this state, the conscious mind begins to shut down and the subconscious becomes the protagonist. I often say that it's like opening the door of a safe. Everything you throw in there settles like a seed. There are no filters, judgments, or blocks, just pure acceptance. It is at this moment that I deposit intentions with the same delicacy as someone planting a rare flower. I have spent decades studying how the subconscious shapes reality, and it was during this nocturnal transition that I found the most effective loophole. When I enter the alpha state, I know that I have fertile ground before me. There, any thought takes root. That is why I never let this transition happen automatically. I have transformed it into a sacred ritual. What I think about there defines how my body will behave throughout the day. If I let fear or anger enter, my physiology responds. But if I choose gratitude, peace, and purpose, my entire system aligns with that frequency. It's almost like tuning an instrument, and I refuse to play an out-of-tune song while the universe listens. This state requires no effort, just awareness. There is no need for deep meditation or advanced techniques. Just recognize the moment and use it with intention. Sometimes I just repeat a simple affirmation in my mind, such as, "I am balance," or "Everything is flowing." The power is not in the fancy words, but in the coherence with which they are felt. The most fascinating thing is that, even on difficult nights, this transition continues. I can be tired, stressed, or have 1,000 problems on my mind. Still, the alpha state appears like a silent invitation, and if I ignore it, I miss a golden opportunity. It's like refusing a gift that is lovingly wrapped by the universe. Over time, this nightly habit began to shape my days. I noticed that answers came more clearly, emotions were more balanced, and synchronicities multiplied. It wasn't luck. It was consistency. All those nights of mindfulness in the alpha state created a fertile ground for what would come next. Because it's not enough to just rest your body. You need to plant the right ideas at the right time. And there is no moment more powerful than that second before sleeping, where the mind falls silent and the subconscious listens like never before. It is in this receptive silence that I usually begin the most transformative practice I have learned to cultivate. The prayer I say before going to sleep has nothing to do with religion or rigid rituals. It is an intimate statement, full of purpose and emotional energy. It's not about asking, it's about acknowledging. Recognize everything that is already in motion, even if the eyes cannot yet see it. It's a way to tune my biology to what I want to experience. I start by being grateful. No matter what happens during the day, I always find something to be grateful for. It could be a hot cup of coffee in the morning, a heartfelt conversation, or simply being alive. This simple act of gratitude immediately changes my cellular vibration. It's like adjusting the frequency of a radio and tuning in to the right station. Then I acknowledge the intelligence of the universe within me. I remind myself that I am not an isolated piece on the board, but a living expression of creation itself. I say this with feeling, not as an automatic mantra. Sometimes I just close my eyes and repeat, I am part of the whole, and the whole is flowing through me. This recognition instantly dissolves fear. Next, I let go. I let go of worries, fears, and even expectations, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. I've learned that carrying everything to bed is like trying to sleep, hugging rocks. I visualize these tensions as smoke coming out of my body. And yes, sometimes I cry in the process. The body understands that this is also healing, and so I forgive. Not because the other person deserves it, but because I deserve peace. I say the names mentally and declare, I release you, I release myself. There are nights when this seems difficult, but even then I insist. Because I know that forgiveness does not cleanse the past, it cleanses the present. And a clean present has the power to create a different future. This prayer, said with feeling, changes my biochemistry. Science has shown how heightened emotions release healing hormones, such as oxytocin and serotonin. It's not magic, it's physiology. And when the body feels, the mind believes. When the mind believes, the energy field transforms. And that, yes, is the law of attraction in action. I don't get hung up on words. Some nights I say them out loud, other times I just think. Sometimes the prayer is long, sometimes it's 3 sentences. But I never sleep without that connection. Because I know that this practice creates coherence between heart and mind, and that coherence is magnetic. It attracts more than any technique I've ever studied, and when I finish, I feel light, as if I had reorganized my system from within, because that is exactly what happened. I reconfigured my energy field, prepared my subconscious, and activated the vibration of what I want to manifest. And it is in this prepared soil that the seed of repetition begins to grow, night after night. For a long time I believed that change was a matter of willpower. But with biology in my hands and my eyes on the subconscious mind, I understood that repetition is the true trigger for transformation. The subconscious works like an old tape recorder. Everything that is repeated, it records as truth. And once registered, it becomes a program. It's that simple and profoundly powerful. These programs are not conscious. Many of them were born in my childhood, when I didn't even know how to think for myself. Words I heard, emotions I felt, experiences I witnessed. They were all recorded as code. And even decades later, I realized that I was acting according to these old scripts. The worst part? I didn't realize that they were still running in the background. It wasn't until I started repeating new beliefs with intention and emotion that the patterns began to change. At first, it felt silly, almost automatic. But neuroscience has shown me that this is literally like building new roads in the brain. With each repetition, I reinforce a new path, and over time, that path becomes an avenue. The key is to persist, even when it seems like nothing is happening. I compare it to hearing a new song for the first time. At first, you don't know how to sing it. After hearing it 10 times, it gets stuck in your head. And before you know it, there you are, singing it in the shower, as if you were born knowing how. That's how it works with thoughts. This is exactly how I reenacted the belief of scarcity that had been with me for years. Every night before going to sleep, I would say, I am abundance. I am enough. Everything flows to me with ease. At first, my mind questioned it, but with repetition, it began to accept it. And when it accepted it, my body responded. And life, of course, did too. I usually recommend 21 days as a starting point. 3 weeks of saying the same thing, feeling the same vibe, anchoring the same energy. It's not a magic formula. It's neurocoherence. And this is something anyone can do. I wrote my sentences on paper, stuck them on the mirror, recorded them on my phone. I didn't leave any room for the old program to breathe. Reprogramming does not require physical effort. It requires an emotional decision, a firm decision that you will no longer accept running the same broken software. When I realized this, I felt free, because I finally understood that my destiny was not in something external, but in what I chose to repeat. And everything that repeats itself takes hold. This is why I insist. Night prayer is not just a pretty ritual. It is a conscious installation of a new system. And if it is done with intention and consistency, it changes everything. Because what comes after it is even deeper. It is when the mind enters a frequency capable of altering not only thoughts, but the field of reality itself. One of the biggest discoveries of my journey was understanding what thoughts you have frequently, literally. Every idea, every emotion, emits a measurable vibration. The brain is not just a receptor of stimuli, he is also a signal transmitter. And everything I think is in tune with something out there. That's when I realized that changing my life required changing my frequency. For a long time, I was tuned into fear, scarcity, and the expectation of the worst. It was as if my brain was stuck on a pessimistic radio station, playing the same sad song day after day. And no matter how hard I tried to resolve things externally, the music kept playing the same. The big turning point came when I realized that I could change the station. I started with gratitude, always gratitude, because gratitude is one of the highest frequencies that exist. All I had to do was stop for 2 minutes and think about something that moved me. The smell of coffee, someone's smile, the feeling of a sincere hug. That changed everything. It was like changing the radio channel to a station where things flow. Prayer I say before bed has become my frequency-shifting switch. By emotionally declaring that I am at peace, that I am guided, that I am worthy, I change my vibrational field. The body notices, the nervous system relaxes, and suddenly, different thoughts begin to emerge. Not because I forced them, but because the frequency has changed. It's like stepping into an invisible elevator. If I'm vibrating fear, I'm stuck on the ground floor. But if I choose to vibrate confidence, I go up a few floors. And up there, the landscape is different. Ideas are clearer, meetings are more positive, solutions are more creative. Life didn't just change out of nowhere, I just changed the frequency with which I received it. Doing this daily has become my mental training. Just as an athlete trains his body, I train my vibrational field. I notice the bad thoughts coming, but I don't fight them. I simply acknowledge them and choose not to feed them. It's an exercise in presence. And with practice, this choice becomes automatic, almost organic. Science has already shown that emotions generate electromagnetic fields. The heart, for example, emits a much more powerful field than the brain. When I understood this, I began to put real feelings into the I, words I said before going to sleep. It wasn't just thinking, it was feeling. And when the heart feels, the universe responds in the same way. And it was in this alignment between what I think, what I feel, and what I emit that I realized. The world outside only reflects the world inside. And when the internal is in harmony, the external begins to reconfigure itself naturally. But it is important to remember, this does not happen by chance. There is something that needs to happen consistently in the next few days. These were the most revealing 21 days of my life. I didn't expect fireworks or miracles overnight, but I trusted the process. I started with small changes. My mood improved, my disposition became more stable, and thoughts that had been confusing began to make sense. It was as if a fog was lifting. Something inside me was reorganizing itself. In the beginning, it's easy to fall into the anxiety trap, expecting quick results, counting the days, comparing yourself to other people. But this only delays everything. I've learned that the secret is to let go of control. When I stopped waiting for external proof and just kept up the nightly practice, things started to move. First inside, then outside. I remember the 15th very well. I woke up with an incredible sense of clarity, as if my body and mind were finally speaking the same language. My actions seemed more aligned. I could say no more firmly, and I felt at peace without needing a reason. This kind of feeling doesn't come from outside. It arises when the internal system is in coherence. Then came the outward signs. An unexpected invitation, a connection I had been waiting for months, and even an old problem that resolved itself. It was no coincidence. It was a consequence. The universe responds to the vibration we consistently emit. And after 21 days of planting the same seed, the harvest began to appear. But here's the thing. I wasn't checking the manifestation clock. I wasn't counting down the days, waiting for a miracle. I was just being available. Active trust is different from anxious expectation. And it was precisely this vibrational serenity that attracted the right answers. They don't come when we beg. They come when we vibrate the presence of what already is. Sometimes results don't come the way the mind expects. They come as learning experiences, new people, sudden intuitions, or even obstacles that redirect. When I understood this, I stopped judging events. Everything was part of the alignment. What seemed like a delay was preparation. What seemed negative was cleansing. The universe is precise. It just needs time. These 21 days became a lifestyle. I realized that it is not just a cycle, but an energetic re-education. I retaught my body how to feel safe. I retrained my mind to focus on the solution. And most of all, I re-entered into partnership with the quantum field that surrounds me. A field that always responds to the dominant vibration I am emitting. And when this vibration is established, the next step reveals itself naturally. No effort, no drama, no despair. It just happens. But for this to continue, there is something fundamental that I have never left aside. Because after the state, the prayer, the repetition, and the right frequency, there is a detail that makes all the difference. Now that everything is clear, the only thing left is to take action. Because there's no point in knowing that there's a powerful prayer, a sacred moment, and a certain frequency if you keep going to sleep with the same old thoughts. You already have the key, and whatever you do with it will change the course of your story. That's the part that no one can do for you. So tell me, are you going to continue living on autopilot, or are you going to use this knowledge as leverage? Are you going to ignore the power of your subconscious, or are you going to reprogram every cell in your body with intention? If you feel that this content touched something inside you, write in the comments, "I'm ready to reprogram my life."